Nintendo, they're at it again. Those wild mega corporate people. So Nintendo has sued Yuzu, which is a Switch emulator. And we'll cover that in just a second, but I'm going to cut right to the heart of all of this right now. Nintendo has exhibited this behavior in the past against ROM sites, against other emulators. They've talked to Steam and said, hey, we don't want Dolphin emulator on Steam, get it off of there. Nintendo is not necessarily mad specifically at Yuzu. Nintendo wants no emulation whatsoever because they are a mega corporation and they want total control over everything. I'll try to cover some of the nonsense that's flying back and forth, but when you look at this, you have to remember that's the essence, and then everything becomes very crystal clear. I've seen the people online who say stupid things like, oh no, the grifters are at it again trying to pretend this is a game preservation issue. So they're really just, licking Nintendo's boots. And they're very, I don't know, like almost hostile as far as their defense of Nintendo. We'll cover those in just a second, but I really want everyone to remember that all that's kind of a distraction. Before we get into all that, let's go ahead and check out our sponsor, which is us. Now, I'm going to give you all a 30% off coupon for all of the different hardware you see here, and that is FCK Nintendo. All one word. Yes, I by the way, we're in the first little bit of the video, and Google hates that, but I will be cursing in this video, so if you got kids, cover their ears with something, I don't know. Anyway, so head on over there, and I'll also put some of these homages on sale, some of the video game homage shirts. So head over to epicpants.com. When you shop over there, you help support the channel, and you support yourself by getting some awesome stuff. Our emulation console is sold out, unfortunately. I'm not sure. I've left it on there because it's so pretty. Maybe one day I will reorder another batch or a Super Senpai. Anyway, let's get back to this. First off, I'll cover what's going on. So Nintendo filed a 41-page lawsuit, as we can see over here on Slashdot, and I'll open up the lawsuit here, versus Tropic Haze LLC. What is this, some kind of weed store? It sounds like a stupid weed store in downtown Portland. Yo man, I'll see you over at Tropic Haze. There's always a donut cart parked out front, because they know. Anyway, they say the main problem is the fact that Yuzu is bypassing their stuff and allowing people to play unauthorized copies. And they're doing so with the clever use of these product keys or prod keys, which are cryptographic keys that are on the console, and they're used to unlock the games that you play. So in order to get those, you either have to get them off of your Nintendo Switch, which is what I did, or sometimes you can download them online, and it says unlawful circumvention of the technology. So that's what they're very upset about. But the thing is that Yuzu does not actually supply those keys. You have to get them yourself off of your console, and Nintendo says that is illegal. So if you modify your Nintendo Switch and take the keys off of your Switch, according to them, that's illegal. So all these games I've got here, if I want to play these on my computer, Nintendo's telling me that it's illegal, even though the computer is a superior experience. Like I played this, there's only one way to play this in my opinion, and that is as Zelda with a few different mods, Darker Nights, and ultra wide. It is a thing of beauty to play this game on ultra wide. And I put, I don't know, a lot of hours into it. Did I even open this? I haven't even opened this. You know why? I bought this because I want to play it, and then I played it on my emulator because it's a much better experience. A much, much better experience. Now, I played this one on Cemu, not Yuzu, but, And then I've got some other games here. I don't think I've opened these games. Anyway, there's a few more games in a box. So there's my Mario Kart. You've probably seen me benchmarking this all the time. This one actually is open. But yeah, it's just a much better experience to play these on your computer because you can upscale them. They look a lot better. You can play them, like I said, the widescreen. You can add the mods. It's just a much better experience, and Nintendo does not want me to do that. And I say, how dare they tell me how to play my games? You sold me this. We're done. That's it. We're done. I bought this. Paid money. Brand new copy. Never opened. Didn't buy it used. You got the money, Nintendo. And now you need to shut the fuck up because it's my turn to do whatever I want with it. And there's gray legality, but I don't care about any of that. I care about what's moral and what's immoral in this regard. And I have the game. I want to play it any way I want. So Nintendo really, in my opinion, has no right to tell me what to do. And that's why I play it however I like. So for me, it's not just about game preservation. It's about something more than game preservation. It's about allowing the user to do what they want with the product that you sold them. Nintendo also talks about the early leak of Tears of the Kingdom. And they say that there were over 1 million downloads, and a lot of the downloads pointed to Yuzu's software, which is available over here on all these different websites. And they had a problem with that. you know, because they're using it to play these unauthorized copies. Right here it is, unauthorized copies of these Switch games. How dare they? Well, you know what? I'm just going to keep on scrolling because there's a lot of words here, but I found a phrase that really sums everything up over here on page number 9. Let's take a look at number 25 here. Nintendo's talking about how they've, you know, made games in the past for old consoles, but also they've made them available for newer consoles. And let's just start up down here on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo recently released a remastered version of Metroid Prime, a title originally made available in 2002 on the Nintendo GameCube. And the remastered version has sold over 1 million units. Nintendo also offers a paid subscription service on the Nintendo Switch, which gives users access to over 100 legacy titles for the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, NES, SNES, and N64 consoles. In short, all right, here it is. This is the entire crux of the video. In short, the ability to play older Nintendo games on newer Nintendo devices is an important market for Nintendo today and going forward. That's what all of this is about. Nintendo wants control of all these old games, and now we're going to get into a little bit of the game preservation. Because, okay, that's great. If Nintendo made all those things available for us, that'd be cool. And also, if they gave us emulators that were as good as the emulators that we can download, the open source emulators, like SNEX 9X, Dolphin, Cemu, or Yuzu, if they made emulators that were as good as those, which they don't, if they made emulators that had low latency like those, they don't. If they made emulators that had features like those, they don't. But if they did, and they made all the games available, then there wouldn't be much to talk about. But there are key games that are missing, and they continue to take stores down, like the Wii U store, gone. You know, the different Game Boy, the DS store, I'm not sure if that's gone too. I don't have that console, but I know a lot of these stores are no longer online, and some of these games are lost. And in the past, 20, 30 years, many games have just become lost, evaporated into the ether when we're talking about looking at them on regular stores. And that's really rough because a lot of the normal people who don't know how to emulate and don't know how to download ROMs, that's it. They don't have access to these games anymore. So it really puzzles me when I go online and I see a lot of people screaming and yelling on Nintendo's side, calling people like me grifters who are, like making this an issue about game preservation. All right, so I'll talk about a couple of the arguments that I've seen right now. A lot of them are arguing that, they had a Patreon. Yuzu had a Patreon. Yeah, that's probably a stupid thing because that gives Nintendo an easy way to jump on you. And they also did something very stupid in the sense that they kept a version of the emulator locked behind a paywall on Patreon. That's an extremely stupid thing to do. And I don't think it's because it's like illegal necessarily, but that's going to make Nintendo look at that and be like, you're locking these cutting edge features behind a paywall. Now, to be fair, that's the experimental version of the build. I don't think people should be using that version of the build. It's just a little bonus for people who are donating some money. When you look at the competing, or the other, I won't say competing because it's all like open source stuff. If you look at the other Nintendo Switch emulator, Ryujinx, which is also a nice emulator, if you look at that one, they also have a Patreon that's doing okay. And that one, they don't have any versions of the game. They just get, like early news articles and a few bonuses on Discord or whatever, but it still allows people to go on there and donate money to something that they value. And I think that's what users should do. They should stop keeping the nightly build or the experimental build locked behind that paywall, because that's a really stupid thing to do, because Nintendo could just look at that and be like, you're selling this as a way to, make money for yourselves off of our creative IP. So I don't think they're going to have a legal ground to stand on right there, but they have deep pockets, and that's the way the world works. They'll be able to bury them under a mountain of paperwork, and, Yuzu's not going to be able to afford those legal fees if they want to take that to court. That's going to be really rough. So yes, it was stupid to do that, just like it was stupid for the Dolphin people to try to put their thing on Steam with the product keys installed. I think that was the reason that Nintendo got mad. But yeah, anyway, I don't think that Yuzu can really get into any real major trouble here because they don't have the product keys. They don't come with it. They don't come with what you need. You cannot play a Switch game when you first just get it. You have to go and get it. And yes, on their website it says, you can go find the product keys on your thing, and here's a tutorial on how to get them off of your Switch yourself, which Nintendo's mad about. But I think a lot of this is just going to be a bunch of nonsense that all goes back to that bottom line that Nintendo wants to be the only curator of old Nintendo games from 30, 40 years ago. They want to be the only place that you can get any of these games in. They want to be able to decide at any time that, like, you know what, this game or this version of the game is no longer available. And then they're also going to do something that I think a lot of other companies are going to do. They're going to keep moving things over to the monthly payment thing. I foresee a future where you can't just go online and pay $2 for an old ROM of an old game. No, you have to pay the $10 a month or $15 a month or whatever it is to get Nintendo's monthly subscription service so that you can play any game that you want. And then there's going to be people who defend this online. We're in a new age when it comes to people and their corporate bootlicking. And it's kind of weird because, you know, years and years ago, people were kind of up in arms about like, hey, what's going on with all this stuff? We used to own things. You know, we used to have DVDs. We used to have boxed copies of games. But now everything's going to an online subscription service. So I saw a stand-up comedy thing a couple days ago, and I couldn't find it for the video, but I'll just give you a summary of what it was because it ties directly into this. It was a girl, and she was saying she went out with a guy, and he bragged about like, oh yeah, I'm a software pirate. Yeah, I've got my own collection of movies at home. And then she started making fun of him like, oh, you're a pirate. The only thing in common with pirates that you pirates have out there is bad oral hygiene. And everyone laughed. And then she was like, what you've really told me is that you're so poor you can't even afford a Netflix or an Amazon subscription. And everyone was laughing. And that's where we are with a lot of just regular people in the world. They don't want to hear about downloading things because it's over their head. You know, this is a reaction because they're helpless, and the only thing they can do is pay for Netflix, and the only thing they can do is pay for Nintendo service or pay for Microsoft Game Pass. That's all they can do. And a lot of it's because they're just too lazy to go out and figure out how to do it themselves, and so they've become complacent, and they live in this world, and they just order DoorDash and watch Netflix all night. They allow the corporations to curate everything directly into their brain, and they've sort of developed this unholy symbiotic relationship with all these corporations, and that's where they are. But that's not where we are, and we don't have to take their bullshit. So the people out there that are bootlicking for Nintendo, I don't care. Shut up. Go away. I'm not interested in anything you have to say. The only thing I'm interested in here is the fact that Nintendo wants total corporate creative control and total, market control over everything they've produced forever. They don't want anybody to be able to get anything from the past, and they don't want anyone to experience anything outside of a Switch console, regardless of whether or not they purchased it. They don't want me to be able to have a much better experience on my PC. They don't want me to play it the way I want to play it. They want to dictate what all of us do and how all of us get our media, and that's not cool. So hopefully the Yuzu people fight back. I can't see them fighting back, but also I don't think Yuzu's going to go away. I think they're just going to change a few things. Maybe you have to go underground for a little bit. I don't think that Nintendo can win this contest on legal grounds, but we'll see what happens. And we've seen a history of this over the past. Nintendo fighting various different things against different ROM websites. A lot of the ROM websites that they have chased away have hidden things behind paywalls. That's just an easy way for them to jump in, but it also has a chilling effect. When you see like when they went after LoveRoms and LoveRETRO, EmuParadise also took their stuff down because they're like, you know what, we're not going to mess around with Nintendo. Even though they're not suing us right now, we don't want any trouble. So if Nintendo keeps this up, I can foresee something similar happening where people are just like, you know what, I don't want any trouble. And that can have a chilling effect on the entire industry. So I'm going to leave some links in the description to different articles. I'll leave a link to the different lawsuits from the past. This is the LoveRom's LoveRETRO lawsuit. The lawsuits. Yes, it was a raw deal. I'm also going to leave something. This is a video by a lawyer. I don't 100% agree with this video, but it's a video from a lawyer talking about the whole Dolphin versus Nintendo thing a few years ago, or 7 months ago. It wasn't too long ago when Dolphin, I guess, put their stuff on Steam. But yeah, it's a video about that. You can just, get up to speed on all the nonsense that's going on if you care. But again, the bottom line was that thing I just showed you. This is it right here. That's all you really need to know from this video. That's what Nintendo wants. And if you know that's what Nintendo wants, you can make responses accordingly. You can form your opinions accordingly. So it's not really about what everyone says it's about, and it's not really about what everyone's screaming and yelling about and all the fanboys and fangirls are screaming and yelling about. It's not about any of that. It's literally about corporate control of our culture. It's our culture. The artist created it. Just remember that. One last thing I want to say is that piracy is a thing. It's always been a thing, and the industry has survived regardless. And if you look out there, the people who are creating everything, they're the ones who usually know how all this stuff works. Show me a game developer who says that they've never pirated, and I'll show you a liar. So I'll leave you with that. See you in the comments. Enjoy the sale over at epicpants.com. Again, the coupon code for 30% off all the hardware is FCK Nintendo. See ya.